This is Rob Tebbutt for Behind the Gloves. I'm here with the always sharp, always snazzy Johnny Nelson at the Joseph Parker Anthony Joshua press conference in London.
Yep.
How you doing today, Johnny?
I'm fine, thank you. It's cold here in London. The Dorchester's nice and flash and plush. I was here, I think, a couple of days ago. It's always nice to be here. I think this is a good start to the year of boxing 2018. You've got both fighters, undefeated heavyweights, that are on the path to trying to unify the titles and clear up any confusion which we've always had in boxing, because there's been that many different champions and that many different belts. You've got two young fighters, unbeaten, that can punch, that want to put it on the line, which is most important. Unfortunately, every time AJ gets in the ring now, he puts more on the line than his opponent does, because he's the one holding the most amount of belts. But it just shows the character and the desire of the individual.
Just staying with that, obviously Anthony Joshua in his last fight fought at a sold-out Principality Stadium.
Yep.
Before that, there was obviously the Vladimir Klitschko fight at Wembley Stadium. That being said, now he's into the element of unifying titles. Is this Anthony Joshua's biggest fight of his career?
Yes, without a doubt. Without a doubt. Because of what's on the line. That's all. When you're talking opponents, you'd say I'd say it was a Klitschko fight, but because of what's on the line, yes, and that's what it's always going to be the case every time he gets in the ring, because he has the belts, he's the champion, he's got more to lose than anybody he gets in the ring with. Now he's in that position. He's now a more hunted animal because of that as well. And like Parker said earlier on, he's been watching Anthony Joshua from day dot, and so. That's the responsibility of being a champion. You've got to take on all comers that have been doing the homework on you for years, and AJ's done that so far.
Obviously, the heavyweight division has been brought to life in recent times. 2018 is lining up to be probably the biggest year in heavyweight boxing for a long time. Do you think there's any chance of AJ taking his eye off the ball with the things like Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury's return?
No, he's not that kind of individual, and he's shown that. And he takes one fight at a time. He enjoys the development of himself. He says he's nowhere near the finished article, so he won't be looking at your Wilders or your Furies as yet. He knows they're there in the background, but he's professional enough and he showed the mental strength and discipline to say, like, this is what I'm concentrating on today. And every fight holds its own threat, every fight holds its own bit of pressure. So some fighters do that if you're supremely confident and think this is a tough touch, but I don't think he will do that now, especially when he's got so much to lose.
And staying with that sort of mental toughness or that mental stability, Team Parker, particularly David Higgins, have referred to what they perceive to be a mental weakness in Anthony Joshua. You know Anthony Joshua fairly well, obviously ex-fighter yourself. Do you see any of that in Anthony Joshua, or is that all fun and games?
That's all fun and games. You know, they've got to talk like their man's the A side of the card, and he isn't. Let's be realistic. All roads lead to Anthony Joshua. That's the big payday. That's the spotlight. That's the world media. And Parker's like, they've got to talk like that. They've got to talk like that to build their man up. They've got to say, look, you are the man. You're the reason why this is happening. This fight is happening because Anthony Joshua wanted this fight to happen. It didn't have to happen. So therefore, you've got to look at this and think, when they say you've got a weakness, they're looking for anything. Every fighter has a weakness. It's a case of finding it. I don't think, and you can look at Parker's fights, you can look at AJ's fights. Every fight tells a story, and I think you've got two strong individuals, mentally and physically.
Staying with some of the comments that Team Parker have made, obviously in the last few days, some comments have perceived to have upset Joshua, or I think a lot of people will come in today and not quite know.
Probably irritating him. Yeah. Probably irritating him because, and I think as you saw in the press conference, he cut Higgins when Higgins was talking about him being knocked down, and he addressed it and said, look, these are 3 times this has happened to me. There's no shame in that. That's the situation, and I've learned from every one of them. And he's been honest with it, and I'm quite sure Parker's been hit and hurt in sparring, but they just don't want to say it. What difference does it make? I'd been put down in sparring by a guy that's never had a fight before, but it's not something you're ashamed of. It happened. It happened to Ali many times. Larry Holmes used to hammer him in the gym, when he was preparing for fights. So if Parker's team are looking at this as some kind of trophy to say, yes, we've got some dirt on you, it's a false sense of security, and I think AJ knows that. So I think he was more or less sending the message out to the public more than he was to Parker's team.
Staying with that, I mean, supposing what Team Parker are saying is true and their man has never been dropped in sparring as an amateur or a pro.
It's the first time for everything.
There is a first time for everything, but does that suggest to you that perhaps he's not been matched hard enough in sparring? I mean, it's a good thing to have competitive sparring.
Listen,
right?
I've looked at his fights and I've looked at the level of opponents, and I don't think the level of opponents have been a threat to him. So it's given a chance for him to show. I think it's given a chance for him to really put on him. I think the toughest guy out there, I'd probably say, was Takam, and so again, Takam saying he got out there late, and you know, any excuse. But what I'm saying is, you look at the level of opponents, you look at the size of Parker, and even before this fight, I'm watching him walk on now. Even before this fight, I thought you're actually the kind of fighter a cruiserweight want to fight, because you're not big, you're not tall, you've not got amazingly long arms, you've got the weight, and so a cruiserweight look at him and think, you know what, I could do something there. He's giving away too much to a guy that's got too much height, reach, power, speed. So therefore, he's going to be the one that's found wanting, I think. But this is a tough fight for Anthony Joshua. Looking at Parker's fights, he's got a fast right hand, fluidity with it, and that's what he needs. He's knocked a lot of fighters out, right hands over the top, right uppercuts. He sets them up well with a jab, leans to the left, throws the right hand to the side, and so he's good with it, and he triggers it off well. The thing is, has he got the confidence to do this when he's up against Anthony Joshua? He's had the confidence to do it with his 24, 25 opponents, because most of them haven't really put up that much of a threat. But when you come in against somebody that can hit, even if it misses, it hurts, then you're less inclined to take as many chances.
And just finally, Johnny, I'm sure this is not going to be the last we hear from David Higgins in the build-up to the promotion.
Yeah.
Anthony Joshua's, by his own admission, probably his most loose performance was against Dillian Whyte. Now, there's a lot of trash talk in the build-up to that fight. Does Anthony Joshua have to be wary in the build-up to this so he doesn't get dragged into what he would say is an emotional
Well,
place?
Anthony Joshua needs to look at Higgins and think every village has an idiot. And this village, Higgins is the idiot. And so he's got to say, look, this Higgins is not a fighter. He's never fought. He doesn't look like the sort of man that's fought. He'll talk a good fight, and he'll be very brave with Josie Parker, because he's not the one taking the shots. So AJ is going to be smart enough to just kind of take it as it is, ignore him. Because what he says, he might be smart with his mouth, might be sharp with his mouth, but that's all he's got. To me, I would totally ignore him. When you get in the ring with fighters, what you do is, you know, you find ways to try and get at the fighter. So if you can't get at the fighter individual, you know, Parker's not a mouthy individual. Parker's not a sharp mouth, but Higgins is. So he's the mouthpiece. And so with Higgins, I would just treat him with the contempt he deserves. I think he's an idiot. That's simple.
Okay, and Johnny, let me just push you for a prediction. How does this fight go on
I think it's going to be a tough fight for Anthony Joshua. I think it's going to be a tough fight for Joseph Parker. I think Anthony Joshua will get hit and he will get hurt in this fight. That's when his character is going to have to show again. I do expect Anthony Joshua to win, but it's not going to be an easy fight. This will probably be his second hardest fight of his career, bar the Klitschko fight.
Okay, well, Johnny Nelson, as always, it's a pleasure catching up with you. Hope to see you in Sheffield next month when we return to the Ingle Gym.
You will.
You said that last time. Thanks very much, Johnny.
Thank you.
Hi fans, it's Michelle Joy Phelps, and if you haven't already subscribed to my YouTube channel, make sure you go ahead and do so by clicking right here.